Hi everyone, delonewolf here, and welcome to ETH Talk, your weekly look at the market in ETH Online. Now, in this week, there are going to be a few tweaks, a few small changes. The reason for that is that over the course of last week, I had a full client crash, and all of my market settings have been reset. So I took the opportunity to change around a few of the standard products that I tend to check. So let's sit down and let's grab the market quick bar that I've remade. And as always, we will start with plex 040 for that one. But as you can see, I'm also going to check all of the plex related services. So first of all, plex 7.99, that is no change compared to last week. Let's have a quick look at the 1 month charts. Well, it's going down just a little bit at the tail end, but really this is between the normal margins, like 7.99 to 7.98. That's really not a variation that's going to make a huge difference. The good news is it's still below 800 million, and it seemingly is staying that way. So it's pretty stable at around 800 million. And here a tentative sign that may be going down just a little bit at the tail end, but I really don't think it's going to happen. Let's have a look at supply demand here. People are buying them in decent numbers, 10, 10, 10, 10, 22. So those are pretty big numbers on the demand side. On the other hand, the entire front page is less than 24 hours old. This is still less than 24 hours old. So there is supply, and they're coming in at numbers of 8, 6, 5, 3. So there is decent supply as well. This looks actually like an okay market with not too much speculative interference here at the moment. So this seems quite okay. And you can pick up plexes below 800 million. Now let's have a look at a multi-pilot training certificates. Maybe I should also quickly note 787 for the buyers, 799 for the sellers. Here is the multi-pilot certificate, 781 for the buyers, 805 for the sellers. So you're buying a little bit of a premium now to train a second character on the same account, and that one is doing the exact opposite. So it's been decently stable at around 800 million or a bit below that for a while, but here it seems to be taking off just a little bit, and the actual sell order prices are a bit above the chart here at the moment. Pretty interesting that it's actually the opposite of the plex situation. And here is pilot's bodies risk up certificate. I'm not sure how that translates compared to a plex, but that one has been going up for the month from around 155 to 170 million. Currently 170 for the sellers, 158 for the buyers. So if you want to risk up your body, that's going to cost you around 170 million ISK. I'll keep an eye on this as we keep going with ETH Talk, of course, and we'll see if we can find some interesting information concerning these services. Next up, we've got minerals, of course, 315. Let's start with titanium. I think that's pretty good news. Look at this 1 month chart going back up again. So after being below 6 ISK last week, we're back above that at the moment with 602 on the sellers, 593 for the buyers. Decent supply coming in though, 100, 250, 200 here. Here we've got 300, 500, 200, 500. So I still give the edge to the buyers slightly. But supply does seem to come in once titanium is above 6 ISK, and so that is going to keep the price from really breaking out at the moment, I think. But decently stable mineral or high-sec mineral market, I should say, for the last few weeks, around 6 ISK. So it's pretty good to see that titanium is coming back a little bit just above that. Looking good for high-sec miners, I would say. Next up, we've got pyrite. Let's have a look at that. Finally ending its ascent at around 13 ISK. So it really did not do that bad in the last 3 months. So even in the last 1.5 months, I should say from 12.20 to 13. That's a decent increase in price. 12.97 for the sellers, 12.84 for the buyers. But it is happening. More supply than amount is coming in. So for pyrite, I would say that this is probably going to start going down slowly, but as long as it stays above 12 ISK, overall you're still doing pretty good business, I think, mining pyrite here. And at the moment, yeah, it is coming in. 13 ISK seems to have been a trigger for people to say, okay, time to get rid of that pyrite. And so now you're seeing much bigger sell orders at the top here than the buy orders, and this is going to of course put some pressure on the price right here. It already started once it reached 13.10 on the chart. Next up we've got Mexalon. That one is still going down, although at the end here it is going down a little bit less quickly, but still 58.5 seems to have been broken. Yeah, 58.48 for the sellers, 57.63 for the buyers. Volume wise, 20 million, 10 million, 30, 10 million. So this is still well balanced. At least it's slowing down, but I would say that Mexalon might just go a little bit lower yet because of its momentum before it will stabilize. Maybe close to 58 or something like that is where I would expect the descent to stop. And then we might finally see Mexalon follow suit and come into more stable waters. Well, Mexalon, exact opposite of Pyrite. Overall situation still looking decently stable. For the high-sec mineral market, here is Isogen. Working on another little spike here at the tail end. This is the 3-month chart, by the way. But overall, 128 on average. We're still there for the 20-day moving average, so it is going up quite a little bit. Let's see if supply has already responded. Actually, it looks like it has. So 132.28 for the sellers. That's just above the chart. The buyers are at 129.87, so it is decently close. The buyers have followed. The margin is pretty low, but if you look at supply numbers here, 10 million, 5 million, 5 million, another 10, another 10, another 10. You've got 11 million here, but then it's 2 million and less than a million below that. You have to go quite a bit lower for 7, 3 and 5 here again. So I would give the edge to the supply side here, which is going to stop this ascent for Isogen. We've seen it twice before. It will probably go down to a more normal 126 after this. At least that's my expectation, because I do think that at the moment we don't have any changes that are coming to the game short term that are going to have a major impact on the mineral market. So let's have a look at Noxium then. The 6-month chart is I think a good idea just to see where it comes from. You know, nice little dip to 540, then up to 680, where at the moment it seems to be managing to hold on. So yeah, Noxium is starting to make a move back towards high-sec behavior, pretty stable at around the 680 mark. Supply demand, nothing out of the ordinary. 2.8 here, 2.9 here, 1.5 here, 2.5 here. So overall this actually looks pretty okay in my opinion. I think the most interesting ones are going to be Zydrine and Megasite, of course. Here is Zydrine, 1 month chart, look at that, taking off quite nicely from 400, which was its bottom, to 650. So that's a huge increase in price all of a sudden, and in fact you're already paying 717 ISK if you want to buy it straight off the market. And some of the buyers are actually really following suit very quickly. So this huge increase in price has manifested in Zydrine, and we're up to 720 ISK, pretty much almost a doubling. You know, give it another week and we may be back in the 800 ISK territory. Let's have a look at Megasite then, starting at 700, and now you saw 1100 for the buyer, for the sellers, 911 for the buyer. So the margin is still pretty big. Supply is also decently good here for Megasite. Look at that, 2.5 million, 2.5 million. People are dumping their stocks, so this will probably start to stall. But 1100 coming from 700, that's quite an increase in price. This is the 6-month chart. Look at that, already beating the 6-month period as being on the highest price it's been since then. Maybe time to take a look at the 1-year chart though. As you can see, Megasite still has quite a way to go before it's back to to a price range that it was before the mineral changes. I guess this is the summer release right here that really caused the Nosec minerals to take that really big dive. But bottom at 700, now back to 1100, and if we're going to go back to normal territory, we have another 500 increase to go, although I don't think that that's actually going to happen. But yeah, there is that rebalance, of course, so maybe if it has enough momentum, it could still have legs. But looking at the supply though, I would be hesitant to say that we're going to go back to 1600 at the moment. But yeah, look at those two minerals. It's really the ones you should have bet on just before FanFest, or a few weeks before FanFest. You had plenty of opportunities to buy Megasite at 700 and to buy Zydrine at 400. I was always very hesitant, but honestly, it's a gamble that maybe we should have taken because, well, this is something really major that's been ongoing. It's been such a drag on this market that an economic reason to rebalance this by CCP might just make sense. And so maybe we should have expected it just a little bit, and we could have made quite a bit of money on that. So that's another example. Keep an eye on the news, but also maybe try and be a bit in advance of the moves that CCP might make when you look at the market. If you see something like this for Zydrine, you know, coming from 700 and really for an entire year going straight down to a never before seen low price for Zydrine, and the same with Megasite, maybe you can indeed expect CCP to make a little bit of a move to tweak that situation. And that's exactly what happened here. So next up, Tech One chips, 1105, and a bit has changed here too. I thought I'd try and get a bit more of a broader spectrum on the bigger ships and a few more races. So we start here with the Apocalypse. This is the 1 year chart. You can see how stable the Tech One ships have been. So maybe I should go for the 6 month chart right here. Yeah, 175 for an Apocalypse. That's just the situation, and you can see extremely stable. Here's the Caracal. We had that one previously. I guess Caracal is part of a nullsec fleet for Brave and maybe some other alliances as well. And so here you do get those nice little spikes, although they're not that big because supply reacts very, very fast on cruisers. On average, 10.5, 10.8 million for a Caracal, I guess. And overall, though, you can clearly see that the chart has been bouncing around that price, and so Caracal okay for its stability. The Dominix on the 6 months here, it is going up. You can definitely draw a line from 190 to 200 million, so up 10 million overall. It is a trend in the Dominix. I guess it's just that popular at the moment to go for some Dominix or to build some fleets on that there is some pressure on it to bring enough supply to the market, which is actually good news. If you can produce stuff, or if you have some extra minerals and production lying around, Dominix could actually be a good idea if I look at this chart, because your margin should be up compared to the Apocalypse that has stayed really right on the 175 million mark the entire time. So yeah, for your consideration, Dominix is compared to Apocalypses, maybe you want to switch your production a bit. Next up, a Myrmidon. I actually think that this is a very popular ship as well. Definitely a very a ship that can do a lot of tasks pretty well because it's a drone ship, but it's got that red bonus, it's got the ability to field guns as well. I think it's great for both PvP and PvE. So here is the Myrmidon from now on at around 51 million, and really in the last 2-3 months nothing to report right there, pretty damn stable. So looking good for stability for the Myrmidon to follow suit on the entire Tech One market. Here's the Stabber. Look at that nice little, very stable in the first 5 months or so, 4-5 months. 10.5, between 10 and 10.5 is where I put the Stabber price. But then nice little double spike right here. But you can also see the response has come. So I'm expecting a bit of oversupply. Yeah, look at that. The buyers, they're just not there anymore. But then we've got 25, 16, 18, 15, 36, 20, 10. So there is that bit of oversupply on the Stabber, bouncing around the normal price, 10.6. Just a little bit too high yet. So people are trying for the opportunity. But it does look like this period of higher prices for the Stabber is already over. The supply has come in, and so we're back to normal prices for Stabbers already. So you can see here it does happen once in a while, although keep in mind that's not that big, you know, 10.5 to 11.5 and then to 12 million. It's not such a big increase in price that you're gonna make bank on this. And then the industrial response is very, very swift in the Tech One market, bring the price back down to its normal levels. And next up then the Tornado. From 62 million to 64 million over 6 months. That's pretty damn stable. Let's have a look at supply demand. Here is a bit, yeah, 16, 15, 190, 38, 143, 266. I guess that we can see spikes here and there because of an Gnostic Alliance buying tornadoes. Tornado fleet, I think, can be quite effective. But overall, this is also just another very stable take one ship if you take a look at the 6 month chart. So I would say that I'm going to keep this for now. If you have other suggestions for take one ships that you might want to see or replaced in this list, I'm definitely open to suggestions. We all know by now, I think, that the take one market is very stable. So if maybe you can find like an exception, a bit like the Dominics, you know, there is an uptrend to be seen here over 6 months. That's a bit of an exception. 10 million, 5%, that is something already. So I'm definitely open to suggestions when it comes to the take one ships that I check. But for now, just these 6, we don't need to linger around this too long. It's been just stable for that long. Next up, take two ships, 16 minutes. Sounds good. And a bit has changed here as well. So I'm still going to do the logistics and then the stealth bombers, but then I'm also adding a couple of a few marauders in there because they're really big, and if something moves there, we're talking a lot of ISK on the trades. So let's check out the basilisk. Unfortunately, stabilizing at 190. And that's not where you want to be either for selling or for buying, so we'll have to wait and see where the basilisks move next. But then a golem, let's have a quick look at the golem here. You can see decent, I'd say, wavy behavior, not that much spiky behavior. We see a nice spike right here, 10.06 billion to 1.2 billion. That's 140 million in a matter of, I would say, 2 weeks tops, and then back down to 1.1 billion. So it does have some variety in there. There is the opportunity for trades. The daily average though, 10 to maybe 20 ships on the volume side, so you have to really know what you're doing and be willing to risk quite a bit of ISK if you want to make some money in this market. But right here at the tail end, we can see that coming off of 1.16 billion, the golem is going down a little bit on the chart, and it is indeed 1.1 billion once again for golems if you want to buy them. This is right here on the chart. Look at that, quite a bit lower. So is this a buy opportunity? It's difficult to say. This is very risky, too risky for my wallet, to be honest. But potentially, if you want to make those really juicy trades, they could be right here in the Marauder. So I'm going to take a few of them together on the Tech 2, in the Tech 2 ship part of Eve Talk. Here's the Garden going down nicely, bouncing off of 130. We're still talking, yeah, 133 now for the buyers. People are trying to snag him up, but you may still be able to buy some Guardians below 130 if this order gets filled in pretty quickly. There is still decent volume on the sellers to keep it from going up just yet, but yeah, buying Guardians below 130, not bad. If you look at this here, 165, 155, 155 here again. Guardian maybe for a good buy opportunity. Here's the Hound, nice little spike that just happened. Now it's going down once again. So buyers 17 million, sellers 17 million. Pretty big volume yet. I would wait. I think we're actually going a bit lower for an even lower buy opportunity here. Here's the Manticore chart coming off of a low of 22 million. The Manticore, because of this period that it's been well below 23 million, I'd be very hesitant to try trading in this one. So it's still staying well within the 22 to 24 million range, which is more than other stealth bombers. And we're not seeing the spikes which I would like to see, like right here from 19 to 24 million. That is awesome. But at the moment, no, I would not go into the Manticore. Here's the Nemesis. That's quite a bit better. Look at that, coming off of 18.5, went up to 20.5. Still a bit low, but it's coming off of 21.5 and here 22.5. And at the moment, you are again buying Nemesis. 17 million for the buy order. So yeah, Nemesis, you can actually buy some well below the chart if you want to. Wait for an opportunity to sell above 20 million, and you could actually make a decent amount of money. Here is the Oneros. Yeah, just no at the moment. You know, you want to be able to buy closer to 145. You want to be able to sell 160, 170, maybe even the 180 range. We're right in the middle of that 155. So I would not make a move on the Oneros just yet. Here's the Paladin then. Oh, that one's been really, really stable. So that's not the best to trade at the moment, I don't think. Volumes of that, again, pretty low, actually lower than the Golem. So I'd be careful here. That one may go pretty soon. If we don't see any spiky behavior in the next few weeks, I think I'll get rid of the Paladin and look for a better Take 2 ship with potentially big gains. Which the Golem, I think it has quite a bit more than the Paladin. That one is too stable. Next up, the Purifier then. That looks pretty cool. Look at those nice little 3 spikes right here, from 18 up to 20 million or just above that, so that's not bad. Current buy order 17.4, sellers 18 million. Quite a bit of pressure on this. Look at the volumes right here. So purifiers, you may be able to pick up quite a few cheap ones and hopefully sell them above 20 million at the right time. And here is the Scimitar finally. Unfortunately, way too stable. I was very excited for the Scimitar when I saw this this double spike right here when I first started checking it. 175 on the sellers, that would be a great opportunity. But ever since then, it did just one little spike up to 160, and then it's been just a bit too stable. So Scimitar, unless you really start going down, maybe reaching, well, actually look at that, touching 130 here on the daily average price. That's not bad. Going down once again, 132 for the buyers, 137 for the sellers. Some volume left, but not that much anymore. It's always tricky to time this stuff, of course, but maybe, just maybe, the Scimitar might be set for another bounce. If a Gnostic Alliance would come in, buy quite a few of them, it could trigger the Scimitar once again. So that's looking quite okay. Here, Take 2, I think I'm going to try and figure it out myself, which kind of ships I want to have in there. And then next up we've got Take 3 ships, 2210. Let's have a look here at the Confessor, but we all know that one is pretty damn stable. 31 to 34 million for the sellers. Volumes still coming in quite heavily, so you're able to buy Confessor for 35 million. Here's the Zwiepel, 39 million. It's a bit newer, and so the price is just a little bit higher. But look at the volumes, 123, 115, 14, 16, 17. So that's not going up anytime soon. Next up, the other Take 3 cruisers. They're on their downtrend. The supply pressure is right here. Look at that. No buyers. 35, 18, 11, 10, 6. Those are the two most recent orders. Pretty big volumes, and so this is putting that pressure on the price after the Confessor spike is what I'm calling it. Here's the Loki. You can also see that one is going down, albeit a bit slower than the Legion, but 28, 62, 15, 8, 9, the volumes are just there, they're too big, and this is putting that pressure on there. Next up, the Proteus, also yeah, definitely going down, in fact starting to head back towards where it came from 6 months ago. Volume pressure a bit less here, 9, 10, 7, so it's going to maybe slow down just a bit, but it is a big jump, of course, from 138 to 134, 135, and yet we still see 9, 10, 7 coming in, so I would say that there is definitely the oversupply situation in the Take 3 market. And here is the Tengu, back where it came from 6 months ago. You're once again picking up Tengus for around 130, 127 for the buyers, 135, 134 for the sellers, and still the last order is 10 of them coming in. Really big volumes here, so we're back in this situation for the Take 3 market, unfortunately. And you can see from the Zwiepel numbers, look at that, 123, 115. Take 3 producers are looking for any opportunity to make some money, to find margins, but there's just that much production going on that it's very hard. There's pressure on all of the ships in general. So not looking good for the launch of the other tactical destroyers, because this is definitely going to put a lot of pressure on all of those right away. And then for the extra material this week, at around 24.45, I'm going to check the post towers, just personal interest here, but I've been looking at the structures, and I wonder if the announcement has put a pressure on the post tower prices, and B, a few months ago, a few releases ago, there should have been more faction tower BPCs dropping. I want to see if there's an impact, a noticeable impact there. So star bases, I guess, and then control towers is where we'll go. And well, there's actually quite a bit of them, so let's quickly go over just the charts here. This is 6-month chart. A mark control tower over the last 6 months went up quite a bit. This is because you could anchor them without needing the rep anymore, and so that's yeah, pretty significant, from 240 million up to 320 million where it's currently hanging. Next up, a mark control tower medium. It's pretty much a similar chart, you know, increasing in price quite significantly and then stabilizing at 160. Here is the mark control tower small. That one is actually tapering off a little bit, so maybe not that popular anymore now that you can actually get a medium or a large boss up pretty easily. Those are much better to defend, so I guess that it's normal that small control towers maybe a bit out of vogue. Here's the Caldari one, pretty similar. So the changes to the anchoring have definitely increased the demand for them, increased the price for them, and this is just what's been happening across the board. There's a little bit of a fall off at the tail end for the Caldari ones right here. Look at that. And then the small towers, they're that small in price that they just live their own little life right here. So here's the Galente one, again starting at 240, ending at 320, 300, something like that. But I'm not seeing a complete crashing. Maybe the medium ones, look at that, those are definitely going down a bit. More medium not, but Caldari one, yes. Galente medium also. Let's have a look at Minmatar medium also. So is it possible that the announcement has put some pressure on the medium control towers? Personally, I think it's a possibility. I guess they're expecting the medium ones to become like the large structures, so those large structures will probably be very popular. I think that's a possible explanation, and affordable compared to medium tower, whereas the extra large ones, you know, that's outpost stuff, that's probably large control tower stuff, that's going to be way higher in price. That's what I'm expecting, and Excel is going to cost quite a bit, and thus maybe the large control towers may find their use remaining for quite a bit longer than the medium towers, which will become replaceable, I think, quite easily by medium and large structures. So interesting. Here is then the Minmatar large control tower starting at, well, it went off of 300, but then 260 I guess we could take as a low, up to 360, and currently, well, 310, something like that. So yeah, definitely that anchoring impact is visible across the board, but no immediate impact from the the announcement right there. And let's have a look at some of these faction control towers. Yeah, oh, that's interesting. Angel Tower going down quite a bit steadily over 6 months. Let's take a look at this one. Medium tower from 450 to 200. It does seem to be happening. That's pretty surprising to me. And then the small one, well, we're not going to touch on the small ones too much, but from 200 to 100, so that happened here as well. Next up, the blood. Look at that. Finally, I read something correctly. So the increased drop rate for faction towers and the addition of look at that here again, Dark Blood Tower from 2.6 billion down to 1.2 billion, much more affordable. So both the increase in spawn rate for faction BPCs and the addition, of course, of the nullsec relic and data sites in Wormhole space have put quite a bit of pressure on these control towers. That's very interesting. Look at that, across the board, all of them down quite a bit. Here is the domination one. Look at that, from 3.5 billion down to 1.5 billion. That's more than half the price. So this definitely happened. This is a thing. I'm glad to finally be able to say that I read something right. Faction control towers, much more affordable than previously. Very, very interesting stuff. So that does tend to happen. Of course, I'm very interesting to see what is going to happen when the new structures come out. All of this is going to have a major impact on the entire structure landscape in EVE Online. Personally, I can't wait for that, but keep in mind, of course, all of that is still in early development. We'll have to wait for that, and until then we'll see what happens in EVE Online, in EVE Talk, when it comes to the market. So there you go, guys, that's it for this week. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.